So with that, Michael, can you talk us through the trends that we're currently seeing?
The best way to do it would be to just bring up this particular slide and just talk to this slide, because I think it's really reflective of what hopefully everyone has been seeing and feeling over the last few years. So what we've done is we've indexed the number of cyber events that have happened over the last few years, 2019 on this slide, and index those and split those between ransomware attacks and pure data breaches. I should stress that we started this project back in 2018, but for ease of review, we've actually only kept it to 2019 and onwards for this, because the mountain that you can see there in front of you from a ransomware attack perspective is just even bigger and harder to comprehend. But what this particular slide is telling us is that since, say, 2019, let's call it roughly the start of the COVID period, we've seen a significant uptick in the number of ransomware attacks as compared to the number of pure data breaches. Pure data breaches themselves have dropped off quite sharply. Conversely, we're seeing the ransomware attacks have increased quite sharply. Really quickly, just at the end of the slide here, you can see the ransomware attacks are trending down. That, we believe, a bit of a moment in time where ransomware attacks were indeed just being controlled quite heavily by certain state actors. We believe, in fact, the updated position on this is that the ransomware attacks are trending back upwards, which is again an alarming trend that we are seeing, something that we had anticipated, unfortunately. But why is this really important? This particular graph, where you can see the ransomware attacks increasing sharply, the mountain, let's call it for today, that happened to roughly coincide with roughly the same increase in, say, premiums and complexity from purchasing cyber insurance. And that's because these particular losses were by and large unanticipated by the market. We say that we had seen ransomware attacks historically, but only in the last few years have they been truly weaponized to cause companies significant damage. A ransomware attack will almost always be more expensive than a pure data breach. There are some rare examples, but you can anticipate that when you're suffering a ransomware attack, you can anticipate it's going to be harder to deal with than a pure data breach. It always a surprise for insurers. It's all been a surprise for everyone, frankly, even in the security space, just how bad these have been and how pervasive they've been. And unfortunately, whilst we did have that period of a lull, we are now anticipating it being a worse outcome going forward, because frankly, the attacks that are now going through the ecosystem have had about 12 odd months of learning from current global events on how to improve their cyber attacks and using some of that collateral coming through. So the anticipation here is that whilst the cyber market is softening and to a degree has understood and now underwriting for ransomware attacks, the expectation should be that they continue to trend up in the short term.